Hi, my name is John Ray. I'm a docent and one of the tour guides out here at Nathan Manilow Sculpture Park. And this is one of my favorite pieces of artwork in this beautiful park. I think the thing for me that I find fascinating more than anything is the fact that he was one of those first artists that really was thinking green. He was basically recycling materials. He was taking existing things that would end up disposed of, but he chose to take a functioning object and by altering it, change it into art.
A young guy named Joe Judice started up a gallery, and he was very hip. I mean, I use that term, and those he was really. And he was much more attuned to the New York scene. This was the pop period, Warhol and all that stuff, where you could buy very cheaply. And one of the things he did is he got friendly with Mark di Suvero. He wanted to represent him. Well, I like to go see Mark and maybe buy a sculpture. Okay. So we went to New York, and Mark met us at the airport, took us to a junkyard in Hoboken, literally, and it was raining. I mean, dramatic as hell. I liked what I saw, and what I saw, I bought about a 10-foot sculpture from him, and they said that Mark would like to come to Chicago and work and do some really big sculpture. And I, having bought that piece, gave them the money to come to Chicago. So would I host them or help them? And I said, well, I have this property out here. Why don't you come? And there's a house on the place. You can live there and you can build this stuff. And within a month or two, they were out there on their way to. Stopped off in just across the Indiana border at Ed Bergman's but bigger junkyard. They had the railroad cars sitting around. They were junked. I mean, they weren't usable. And Mark took a liking to the tank car, cut it up, literally, made two pieces out of it, and eventually brought it over to where it is now. Mark comes out almost alone with his crane, which is all painted with peace insignias. And a couple of guys come over, a couple of students. Some of them are art students, some are not. And they kind of help out. And then a few more people kind of wander in. And then it was most interesting is, so there's all of a sudden there's 4 or 5 people there, and they're standing around, and Mark and they kind of, Mark doesn't ask him to do anything, but they kind of find their way. Oh, can I help you with this thing and move this thing? And Mark, and building that stuff is dangerous as can be. It's huge. You make a mistake, you can kill yourself. And so the most interesting part is some steel workers wandered over. And they were very skeptical. They had heard, there's some guys working with steel, making these big things. Let me take a look. I'm sure that guys don't know. I'm sure that he doesn't know what he's doing, so he'll probably kill himself putting the things together. And they stood there and they watched for a day or two and said, yeah, he knows what he's doing. He really does. And pretty soon those steel workers were out there helping build this sculpture. He's not paying anybody. He's not asking anybody to do anything. All of a sudden he's got a crew. Like he's a Pied Piper, and they're all joining up with him. And it was beautiful. So I had Mark coming out and doing stuff, and I just was thinking of a piece or two, and then I began thinking of a whole sculpture park. We leveraged Mark's piece to get a couple more pieces, and then the university got interested and built the big John Henry piece, which is also a huge piece. So we had 2 huge pieces and a couple of smaller pieces. And then we went on from there.